Okay, hi. So welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna just go into listening just a little more, and maybe for those students who are just at maybe a higher level. So another great suggestion is to, if you really want to, if you feel that you're struggling just a little bit, always try and listen to things that you know about. So if you're from Brazil, and if you really understand a lot about technology, if you work in IT, for example, and if you know a lot about, maybe you're interested in artificial intelligence. So if maybe you know a lot about that topic when you speak Portuguese, and when you search for articles and videos in Portuguese, and you learn about that subject, well then search for that subject in English, and then especially, maybe YouTube videos, things like that, but even podcasts, so the thing is that if you know the topic, you have that internal picture of the subject already, that internal visual mentalese world that you have without language. And then, so all you need to do is, now if you want to become fluent in English and you want to improve your listening, just find the same content with the same topic just in English and listen to it, and then connect up all of that vocabulary. So, basically the recommendation there is just, if you want to improve your listening, just always try and find, maybe you've been reading a lot of articles about Donald Trump recently. In the last few days, you're aware of the story. Now go and find audio content, and if you want to focus on reading, you can do that as well, but go and find content that you know about already, because you have that internal imagery already in your first language. Now, to make it easier on yourself, you just find that same content in English, connect up all of the vocabulary when you're listening to it. And what I would say then is, you can also go to YouTube, and what I would suggest is just going to YouTube and searching for things that you're really, really interested in. Just search, if you're interested in Japanese history, search for Japanese history documentary, and you'll get some documentaries about it.
Found a Japan still torn apart by restless warlords. He quickly set out to further the cause of reunification.
Or if you're interested in European culture, you'll get a bunch of documentaries about that.
An important part of the Sami identity.
And with the documentaries, it's a little easier because you have the videos to help you with the spoken vocabulary. And just kind of relax, enjoy your day just sitting down, just watching great documentaries in English to improve your English fluency. And then at a higher level, I would say here is looking for podcasts. So I actually used to do this a few years ago myself, before I started teaching English or thinking about language. And I would just go to iTunes, and there's a little search bar. Make sure that you're in the podcast section. And then what I would do there is the same as YouTube, just search for the topics that you're interested in. So put in technology, and then you'll get a lot of technology podcasts, or put in business and you'll get a lot of business podcasts, or advertising, or football, basically any topic that you're interested in.
Support for this NPR podcast and the following message come from...
What's the way to the secret documents?
We heard that one of the very first credit reports ever, precursor of this whole Equifax thing,
Hello and welcome to Business Daily here on BBC World Service. I'm Ed Butler and today I'm in China, a country where debt is very much on everyone's mind at the moment.
I broke the screen on it maybe like 4 months ago, and when I brought it in for a replacement, they just gave me a new phone.
Earlier this week, we posted an article where Adam and Leah worked on a story on some camera comparisons.
Afraid of everything? I am. I mean, I try to hide it and deal with it, but on a day-to-day basis, No,
I'm not afraid of everything. I'm afraid of very few things.
Like what?
And now with the podcasts, now it's only audio. So what you got to do is, I would say, sit down. See, it's different for different people. Some people enjoy doing the dishes and listening to a podcast, or driving to work and listening to a podcast. For me, what I would say is that what I used to do and what I recommend to students is just sit down and give it your full attention. Try and give it 100% of your attention, and just sit down. Get a good pair of headphones and just sit down, press play on a really good, interesting podcast, maybe like a bunch of guys talking about the latest movies, something like that, and just sit down and give it your full attention. Now, when you're listening to the vocabulary, every word should light up in your mind in a way. Every word should trigger, that mental imagery. But, get to a stage where you can listen to a lot of spoken vocabulary. And when you listen to all of it together paints a picture of the story for you. Sometimes it's not always a picture. Sometimes people just talk about concepts, but even with that spoken vocabulary, it should suggest concepts, and it should not suggest your first language. There should be no translation. When you're listening, maybe for some students they go through a quick little process of translating, and it slows things down a lot. So really, just focus on listening and focus on the words that you're hearing, painting a picture of the story for you, or painting the concepts for you. And just give it your full attention, and do that for hours and hours and hours. And I've had a lot of students who really, that seemed to really push them to another level when they really just focus on podcasts, and they got all of their favorite podcasts and they just sat down for hours and hours and hours and just listened to these podcasts. And that was a huge jump for a few students that I had. So in the next video, I'm going to talk a little more about listening. So I'll see you then.